Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Jeffrey Lyles, welcoming you to another installment of Lyles Figure Files. Congratulations! We've made it through the first half of 2022. And that means we have a massive Unicron-sized, planet-destroying next couple months ahead of us. We've got our Comic-Con reveals coming out, which means they're going to be Comic-Con exclusives, and we've got all of the different crowdfunding projects to come. And my wallet is shaking with terror, much like Alderaan. And I decided I think I have a solution for it. And, it's not that massive a plan. It's not something that I'm sure no one's thought of before. But it's something I really hope can get revisited by these companies, especially as they all basically tag team us right now in July, August, September, October. These few months where it's just such a drain. And it's kind of like, but I want all of it. And I'm going to have to choose. And I don't necessarily want to choose because these projects are so cool. And I really do have that Pokemon feeling that I want to kind of catch them all. But I can't unless they come up with a solution. I have one to help them out, though. All right, but this kind of led me to thinking about this time in 2021 where Mattel revealed its first crowdfunding project. It's WWE New Generation Arena. This is a really impressive project, a really strong debut for this forum for them. You got a big scale ring that fits your leads, your Ultimate Edition figures. Got 3 Ultimate Edition figures, which basically took up the cost of a good portion of that project all on their own. Because great, if the ring was $250 to start, then these 3 figures are about $90 together, so that makes the ring such a better deal. There's a light up base, well, that's got to cost some money too. We've got ring skirts, which if you pose your figures and if you set up wrestling photography, the ability to switch out ring skirts is actually really key. So that was really exciting to me. All the tiers got funded, and it was a really good project. And it was really exciting to get it and know it's coming at some point this year. But then Hasbro was like, yeah, here's our beer. You sit over on the corner, Mattel. We've got our Hazlab Galactus. And this guy was massive. All the bells and whistles you could possibly want out of your Galactus figure. Even came with 2 heralds we've never seen before. Probably won't get at retail. And it was really exciting. Lots of cool light up features. And hopefully he's coming soon too. But that was a hard killer July. And that doesn't even include the Comic-Con exclusive Sergeant Slaughter figure, which I was like, I've got to get this guy too. But July was rough. August was a little bit easier, unless you were collecting Transformers, because their HasLab, the Victory Saber came out. That was also tricky because you had 3 crowdfunding projects. And in August, you had to finish paying. You paid for those. So your Galactus, your New Generation ring were coming due. You watch that money escape your account right at the same time the Victory Saber was coming up. September, we got a little bit of a wallet break, but then October hit, and October was insane if you were collecting a decent amount of figure lines. There was the HasLab G.I. Joe Sky Striker, the HasLab for Ghostbusters, the Egon Spengler Proton Pack, and the ill-fated Black Series Rancor. But that was not it. We also had PulseCon, and that came with its own series of exclusives. So we had the Cantina Showdown box set for the Black Series Trapper Wolf, the Vintage Collection Emperor's Throne Room, Plasma Series Venkman from Afterlife, Infinity Saga Thanos vs. Iron Man, Final Battle Thor, Power Rangers Lightning Collection Finster, G.I. Joe Classified Series Zartan, Transformers Decepticons Forever Ravage 2-pack, and the Fortnite Victory Royal Series Mulecles and Sky and Ollie. That's a lot of figures. And then when you factor in 2 more HasLabs, it's like, what are y'all doing? And it led me to thinking 2022 is not going to be any better. Hasbro's already started off. We've got that Black Series lightsaber from Reva from Obi-Wan Kenobi. That's not getting funded, so you don't have to worry about that drain on your wallet. But there are people that backed this project who had to go, well, I don't know what else Hasbro's doing, but I like this and I want it. But for G.I. Joe Classified Series fans, our project is getting funded, the His Tank, and that's going to come out in August. which leads me to kind of some worry, concern, because I still don't know what Mattel is doing with their WWE line. Is it going to be another arena? Is it going to be some cool figures? Bill McKenna is teasing the San Diego Comic-Con exclusive and the Creations Mattel offering. Those are going to be expensive. I mean, it may not be as expensive as a $400 Galactus, but it's not going to be cheap. They're not giving it away either. And then whatever the heck Hasbro's doing with the Marvel Legends, maybe we'll get a Star Wars Black Series figure. Maybe there's some vintage collection Hazlab offerings. We had the Razor Crest for the vintage collection for Mandalorian. And then there are Ghostbusters options that possibly are still on the table. Maybe there's something for Power Rangers fans. Definitely something coming for Transformers. That's a lot of potential options. And I think that's the scariest part about it in terms of figure collection terrors. But it's that uncertainty of, I know these next couple months could be really dicey and could be really expensive, but I got my His Tank and I'm really happy about that. And I know some of you all have said, I would love to get more than one His Tank. Maybe I'd get the full max of 5. Maybe I just get 3. But I'm kind of waiting to see what Hasbro reveals for Marvel Legends, Star Wars, etc. I think that's where we're running into a little bit of a problem, because it really shouldn't be this thing of, I would love to see what's coming, but I can't devote all this money I've got for something I don't know is coming. So it's a weird conundrum for Hasbro. It's a weird issue for Mattel, and it's a really tricky situation for us as collectors. There is a solution, and it doesn't seem like it's that complicated or should be that hard an obstacle to go around. And it's just simply something that Sideshow Collectibles has been doing for a long time. I mentioned before, I get a lot of Hot Toys figures, kind of cooled down after Avengers Endgame, but I'm still eyeing all this cool stuff that's coming. Hot Toys figures are about $200. And Sideshow really early on understood, hey, maybe people don't have $200 just sitting around for figures when things like gas and food exist. So let's set up a deal where if they're interested, you can buy your figure, you can pre-order, hold it, lock it in place with a deposit. Non-refundable, so you're not getting that back if anything happens. And I think that's fair. And it's not an expensive deposit for like a $200 figure. You may have to put down $18, $25 for the deposit. Not a big deal. But then you can choose how many times you're paying for that figure before you get it. In some cases, it can be as many as 6 payments. Some are as few as 2. But I love that setup because, I may not have $200 right now, but if I can budget for it, I can set that money aside. It's, a few dollars here and there every month until it's time for that payment to start drawing. I like that so much more, and I think this is something Hasbro and Mattel both should consider because they've got more expensive projects than your typical standard Hot Toy figure. So, breaking that down, not including shipping and taxes, which is not fair. I should be doing that, but I don't have all those breakdowns because you can't enter that equation back into Hasbro Pulse and Creations Mattel. If every project sans the Rancor, you decided, hey, I want all of it, it would cost you $1,209.96. Again, that doesn't include shipping. It doesn't include taxes. So it's definitely more, maybe even as much as $1,500. That's not cheap, and that's a lot of money going out within a short amount, or within a really short window. So let's say that Rancor project did happen to go through and you were a massive Star Wars fan too. Then it would cost you $1,559. No taxes, no shipping. That's a lot of money to go out of your wallet from July through October. I think that's the real flaw in this crowdfunding project. It's like, there's no problem. I don't think any of us have a issue waiting a year to get a figure, but I don't know if you guys do, but I hate the fact that all of the money for it has to go up front, from the shipping, the taxes. Honestly, if they would just hold off on that till it was time for the thing to come due, I'd be okay with that more than paying everything up front. Because I feel like that's something that is kind of like, dude, if I'm paying for this $350 Rancor now, and I'm not going to get him till next year, That's potentially $350 I can't spend on figures that I would want right now, that I can go to Target, that I can go to Walmart, that I can go to GameStop and get right now. And I know there's some of you out there going, well, if you can't afford it, don't buy it. But I feel like there is an option with this installment plan to take care of it. I mean, if Hasbro had set up Galactus on an installment plan and said, all right, from July 2021 to July 2022, you got to pay for them, you would pay $35, maybe a little bit more with the taxes and shipping. But I think most of us could go, yeah, sure, for that amazing Galactus, I could spend $40 a month setting aside and then paying that off when it comes, rather than, hey, here's $430 right now, guys, and I'll just keep waiting outside my window, looking out the door to see if my Galactus that I paid for a year ago is finally here yet. I don't think that's a great solution. I don't think that setup that Hasbro has created really works well, especially in the changing face of the recession and prices going up. I feel like asking us to pay $25 for figures is kind of a lot right now anyway, but I think this is one way that they could alleviate that problem. Just going, hey, you pay closer. So if Galactus is coming in June, or if he's coming in October of 2022, August, September is when you pay. I just think that will work out so much better as opposed to getting everything all at once from people, because things change and situations are really dicey. I mean, people could lose their homes between now and next year, and boy, that $400 for that figure sure would have come in handy for buying whatever. And I get it. I know, don't be so irresponsible. Don't spend your money on your lights to pay for a figure. But I think there's also that problem of, if you don't get it now, you're going to pay $700 for it when it gets to online retailers. And it's kind of like, well, geez, what am I doing here? And I think it's just a bad situation, bad setup, and one that can be avoided. I reached out to Action Figure Attack, Steve. He's on another forum, and he's really awesome because on his time away from cranking out great WWE figures for us to see, he answers questions. So I posed this question to him. I was like, Steve, hey man, what's the deal about setting up installment plans for these figures? And he said, yeah, I'm totally aware that the consumers are going to have to decide where their dollars go. I don't think a payment plan would be possible this time based on the credit card processing limitations, but who knows how that would evolve over time. Hello, Steve, because I think it's so cool that he answers our questions. I like that he's at least opening the door maybe for potential with installment plans for figures. I'm kind of curious why it works for Sideshow Collectibles, though, and why a big company like Mattel and Hasbro can't do the same thing. It's not as if they're going to lose customers if they're paying over time. I feel like those numbers would go up tremendously from the people who can't go, I don't have $400 to drop on a figure in August, but I would have money through 12 months or 6 months or 3 months to pay for a figure over time if I don't have to do it right now. I just think that's something that these companies should consider, and I think it would really boost up their numbers. I know a lot of these crowdfunding projects don't have problems getting funded, Star Wars Rancor and Reva's lightsaber aside, but I think maybe we'd start seeing a lot more sales on these if people could pay over time instead of having to come up with that money up front for a figure that they're not going to get till a year later. That's my take on it. Let me know what you think. Would you prefer to pay all up front, all at once, so you don't have to worry about it? Like, hey, I've got my Galactus, he's covered, I've got my his tank, that's cool, I don't even have to worry about it anymore. Or would you just rather say, hey, you know, I spend $24 on a Marvel Legends figure, or just put down a little bit more for my upcoming Hazlab Marvel project? Let me know what you think. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and keep dropping those comments. I'm going to keep responding to all of them. Thank you so much. This episode of Lyle's Figure Files has been filed.